On the news this evening, Senate names 18-member panel to monitor Rivers emergency rule. Expert faults National Assembly plan to mediate in Rivers political crisis. God blames saboteurs for fresh oil spill in Ahoda community. Paul Jam performance stirs mixed reactions among stakeholders. On the foreign scene, Israeli minister vows total destruction of Gaza. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Welcome back. The Senate has appointed leader Opeyemi Bamidele as chairman of an 18-member committee to oversee activities of the Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Iboketa Ibas. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio made this known during the resumption of plenary today. Other members of the committee include Senators Adamu Alieru, Osita Izunaso, Osita Ungu, Kaka Shehu, Aminu Abbas, Tokumbo Abiru, Adeniyi Adebire, Sani Musa, Simon Lalong, Asukwo Ekpeyon, Adams Oshomole, Ireti Kingibe, Onyekachi Nwebonyi, Idiat Adebule, Ide Dafinone, as well as the clerk of the Senate. Senator Akpabio said the committee was created to strengthen transparency and accountability in the state's governance. Recall that the House of Representatives last month inaugurated an ad hoc committee to oversee the administration of Rivers State during the ongoing state of emergency. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, inaugurated the committee with the leader of the House, Professor Julius Ihonwe, as chairman. During a meeting between the House of Representatives Committee and Rivers State Administrator, which was held on the 25th of April, after two other failed attempts, Administrator Ibas requested the House Committee grant him more time to adequately prepare and present a comprehensive briefing. He apologized for his inability to appear before the House previously. Meanwhile, the director of Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, Sam Amadi, says the National Assembly has no reconciliatory role to play in the emergency rule declared in Rivers State. Dr. Amadi made this known in an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari while speaking on the lawmakers' plan to resolve the political crisis in Rivers State.
That's the point. They leave what they're supposed to do and do what they're not supposed to do. National Assembly has no broader interest of reconciliation. If they have interest of reconciliation, they will make a new law, creating a national conference. The job of National Assembly is to make laws, not to engage in arbitration. If they care about national interest and they think it's not being done well, their job is to do public hearing and make a law, either creating a commission, creating agency with a mandate to reconcile people. They don't go and engage in meetings to reconcile. They're not executive. But they can't distinguish between executive and legislature.
He advised them to strictly focus on their legislative duties and stop meddling in the function of the executive arm of government.
the president declares state of emergency, they have to consent. They have consented. They have no other business with the state of emergency. The president has scrambled democratic structure in that state. In fact, the state administrator has no business doing the things he's doing. He has no business calling meeting of his presumption of state of emergency that there's an emergency to be dealt with. So administrator is for purpose of preserving peace. The Mr. President says there is a likelihood of breakdown of peace and a stop to democracy. Focus on that. If there are no more threat to peace, the state administrator should go away and let the democratic system come to do all this. So National Assembly has nothing to do here. And having approved it, allow the president to manage the state administrator. That's how the concern is.
The policy analyst also asked the Supreme Court to use the existing case challenging the state of emergency rule in Rivers State to restore sanity in the democratic governance of the country. In another development, a Lagos-based political analyst, Liberus Oshoma, says there is nothing wrong for the National Assembly to ask the Supreme Court to dismiss the PDP governor's suit challenging the declaration of state of emergency rule in Rivers State. Mr. Oshoma spoke with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
The suit before the Supreme Court, the National Assembly is a factor in the matter. And so what you're saying playing out, one of those ways lawyers rattle each other. So what they have done now is first and foremost challenge the competence of this. Basically what the National Assembly is trying to do is to look for ways of rattling the other side and ensure that the matter does not even go on merit. File a preliminary objection to the suit. The pre-action notice that are usually issued to public institutions, public servants, public action taken by public servants, you must issue the necessary reaction notice. And so,
the analyst also explained the likely reasons why the National Assembly filed the preliminary objection to the suit.
The National Assembly is saying they followed that procedure. If you say they didn't follow and you have gone to court, are you also going to say that they should not defend your action? If you have challenged them in court, are you saying they should fold their hands and not defend their action? They would have also filed a defense, but they're asking the court that before the defense, please look at the preliminaries. Do these people have the capacity to even bring this action on the ground that the necessary ingredients to activate the jurisdiction of the court have not been met? It is not left for the court to decide one way or the other. It is not in the mouth of people to say, oh, look, you didn't follow, and then they should just accept that they didn't follow.
Mr. Liberus Oshoma, however, said the withdrawal of the Delta State government from the PDP suit challenging the state of emergency rule is insignificant. As you may know, 6 members of the House of Representatives from Delta State earlier today have joined the governor and other political leaders from the state to defect to the APC. The Speaker of the House, Abbas Tajuddin, announced their defection during plenary today. The Speaker also announced that 2 members of the Labour Party from Enugu defected to the opposition PDP. Earlier, President Bola Tinubu met with the Delta State Governor, Sheriff Oborowori, at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. In other news, an oil pipeline surveillance guard who prefers to be anonymous says the fresh oil spill at Ikata in Ahoda East local government area of Rivers State was caused by third-party interference. In a phone interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari, the guard said he saw the oil spill happen. He added that local residents, especially farmers, believe the spill was a deliberate act meant to sabotage the government and the company that owns the pipeline.
What happened is that while on patrol in the pipeline, 14 inches Okodia Rumekwe row at Ekata, Renaissance pipeline, I observed an oil spillage in the pipeline. The surveillance said, I tried to investigate to inquire one of the causes of the spillage. I observed that it was as a result of a third-party interference. The pipeline was excavated by oil thieves. Joint investigation will be carried out, which is GIV. After GIV, they cannot order for clamping, then they cannot clamp. The surveillance guards charged to be in that particular axis were not on duty.
The oil pipeline surveillance guard also alleged that an insider may have played a role in the oil spill.
While investigating from other farmers around the bush, I gathered fact that the vendors are sponsored, but though they are not mentioned. The villagers confirmed that to me because in previous times it happened. It's only when there is a vandalization that a contractor in charge of repairing a pipeline can actually have a job of such. Otherwise, when there's no spillage, when there's no vandalization, there will be no contract given to them. So most of these things you see comes from the office, revealing those responsible for this, because in any community we always know those who can do such a thing.
In the meantime, the Executive Director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, Fineface Dumna Mene, is appealing to the youth in the area to avoid sabotaging the company's facilities.
Because the petroleum industry has stipulates that if there is property interference in the area leading to oil spill, that's a percentage of the 3% will be withheld. And when this happens by actions of a few youth, it's going to affect the entire community because a percentage of their resources will be taken out as stipulated by the PIA. And that is going to impact other members of the community. So youth should stay away from pipeline vandalism, crude oil theft, and artisanal refineries because it's contributing to environmental damage, loss of resources to not only the country but also to the community, that a percentage of money that is supposed to go to their host community development trust will be withheld.
Dumna Mene also called on authorities, especially the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency NOSDRA, to urgently investigate the cause of the spill. Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Media Awareness and Justice Initiative, MAJI, Onyekachi Emmanuel, has urged government agencies, especially those in the oil and gas sector, to deploy digital tools to investigate the frequent cause of oil spill in the Niger Delta region. Mr. Emmanuel gave the advice while speaking with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
Our overall aim is, at the end of the day, the government starts adopting data-oriented processes in environmental monitoring. We understand that they are already doing a lot. We understand that already existing policies, but we want them to incorporate data use because there are places where government officials might not get to, either because of lack of manpower or available finance. We are asking that key stakeholders like governments, the media, CSOs adopt and deploy technological tools in areas that are hard to reach so that they can also collect data from those places. And the people living in those places are not left out in the discussion around climate justice.
The data analyst also explained the significance of using data.
We feel that data is a very important component to tell the environmental story. We have had lots of campaigns in Niger Delta, but have been very visual in nature. However, we want to tell the story of numbers, where data now tells that story that has already been told many years before now. This fact sheet is a documentation and a compilation of information that have been gathered over a 5 to a 6 month period. These were devices, low-cost tech devices that collect environmental data and that were deployed in various local governments and various communities across 3 states.
Recall that yesterday, suspected vandals were believed to have caused the oil spill on a 14-inch pipeline operated by Renaissance Africa Energy Company in a Kata community, Ahoda East local government area of Rivers State. The incident severely damaged farmlands and polluted nearby rivers, raising serious environmental and public health concerns. A viral video capturing the aftermath of the spill has circulated widely on social media, showing the extent of the environmental devastation. Still to come, Paul Jam performance stirs mixed reactions among stakeholders. Stay tuned. Back. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, has attributed the low performance in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME results to the improved integrity and security of the exam process. The minister said this while speaking on Channels Television. The minister advised Nigerians not to view the results from the JAM as a national setback, but rather as a realistic reflection of the level of academic preparedness among students when examinations are conducted properly. However, Labour Party presidential candidate in the last elections, Mr. Peter Obi, said the poor performance in the recently released UTME results is a reflection of Nigeria's deteriorating education system. In a statement shared on his social media handle, Mr. Obi described the results as a sign of deep-rooted issues in the nation's education sector, citing years of neglect and underinvestment. Also, a professor of counseling psychology, Obi Nkemjika, blamed the poor performance of candidates in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination on parents forcing their children to acquire tertiary education. Speaking in an interview, Nkemjika, a professor at the University of Port Harcourt, said students can only excel in academics when they show personal interest.
The level of failure is not surprising. Students are not serious. Many of these students are being forced by their parents to go to school. Some of them are not interested. When the student is not serious and is being forced by the parents or the guardian to go and write exam, you don't expect them to do very well. You cannot put down what you don't have. If a student is interested in higher education, he will read, he will devote time to his studies, and he will do well.
Professor Nkemjika also called for a revolution in the nation's education sector.
The government is not interested in the products of the universities. And in our own system, we always rely on certificates. So when you now waste all these years and at the end you didn't get a job, you're still relying on your parents to do one thing or the other for you, then what example are you giving to those who are just coming up? Our own education system is not channeled to acquisition of skills that you can come out and be on your own. Our education system needs to be organized so that those who are interested, when they come in, they will not look for a white-collar job.
A stand-up comedian, Godson Ekwubiri, popularly known as GSN, says the low score is a testament of the decline in Nigerians' reading culture. Speaking with our correspondent, GSN urged political leaders to invest in education and improve governance.
If you ask how many persons now they really read book, this generation, they think they're very, very, very low. I think we need to do a whole lot to the reading culture. The kind of leaders we even get, they give us joy, and it's crazy. Now, I understand monetization, social media, and everything. A lot of persons, they do a whole lot of things for content. But for me, Nigeria know the same for normal people. We need our leaders to be accountable. How much money will our leaders they pump into education? How many libraries do we have? You cannot blame social media because you have books online. But what's the percentage of persons who read online?
The content creator expressed worry about the quick money syndrome amongst the younger generation.
Yourself, if you post on Facebook, immediately your post just enter that one where they will write you more. People don't skip your post. Why? Because that reading culture don't come out from our society. Everybody now they find quick money. Who even come out with first class? You go see work. All these things they follow. They demoralize people step from going to school. That's why I get first class for my class that time. They sell boxers online. So we are going through a lot in this country. A lot has to change.
As you may know, data from the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, shows that out of over 1.95 million candidates who sat for the exam, only 420,000 scored above 200, while over 1.5 million candidates failed to meet the 200 mark threshold. On the international scene, Israel's finance minister Bezalel Smotrich says a victory for his country in its war against militant group Hamas means that the Gaza Strip will be entirely destroyed. Smotrich, who lives in a settlement in the West Bank, also expressed his hope that the territory will be formally annexed during the current government's term, which could last until late next year. On the news this evening, you heard the Senate has named an 18-member panel to monitor Rivers emergency rule. Expert Sam Mamadi has faulted plans by the National Assembly to mediate in Rivers' political crisis. An oil surveillance guard has blamed saboteurs for the fresh oil spill in Ahoda East community. Mixed reactions are now trailing the poor performance recorded in the last JAMB. On the foreign scene, Israeli minister has vowed the total destruction of Gaza means victory for Israel. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.